Welcome to Afro-Bibliotherapy, a literary therapeutic community which celebrates the written works of the Afro-Caribbean Black diaspora. This week, we begin a collection, an anthology, of stories about Anansi the trickster spider. So, call the kids, or even the adult kids too, into the room and let's share a story together. Anansi the spider is a beloved mythological character originating from the Ashanti people of Ghana, West Africa. He is renowned across West Africa and the Caribbean as a master storyteller, a mischievous trickster, and a crafty keeper of wisdom. Known in Ashanti mythology for bringing wisdom to the whole world, there are countless stories telling of his legendary adventures and scheming exploits. Sage-like lessons and side-splitting belly laughs are found in each of his adventures and are captivating enough to hold the attention of both children and adults alike. Anansi the spider was part of my literary upbringing as a child of Jamaican Trinidadian immigrants, and I hope that you get to know his lovable, wise, and playful nature through these stories and welcome him into your family as well. So, grab a journal, pull up a chair, maybe pour a cup of tea, close your eyes, take a deep breath. Let's turn the page. Anansi and the Pot of Wisdom. A long, long time ago, when the earth was young and so were all the other creatures, wisdom was kept in a large clay pot which had 3 little feet and a very tight-fitting lid. Anansi looked after this pot, and when any of the other animals in the jungle needed help with making a decision or solving a problem, they would visit Anansi. They would turn up at any time during the day and sometimes during the night as well. They would ask him to look in the pot and see if the pot of wisdom was able to help them solve their problem. Well, in the beginning, Anansi would puff out his chest and make a big fuss that it was he who was in charge of looking after the pot of wisdom. It was he who looked in the pot to get the answers the other animals wanted. But as time went on, Anansi got fed up with all the other animals visiting. He enjoyed lazing around in the shadow of a tree far more than helping the other animals. Take one day last week, for example. The sun had just climbed into the sky, and one of Rabbit's children hopped up to see Anansi. "Anansi, please look in the pot for me. My brothers and sisters tease me because I'm scared of the night." Anansi took the pot with the 3 little legs and a tight-fitting lid down from the shelf and opened it. Now, when the pot answered, it would not give a simple answer like, "Oh, don't be silly, there's nothing that can harm you." It would answer using either a riddle or an old African proverb. As always, the pot gave its answer. "No matter how long the night, the day is sure to come." Thinking for a while, Rabbit's child thanked Anansi for looking in the pot and returned to his burrow, no longer scared of the night. Anansi then began to cook his breakfast when he heard a buzzing outside his door. Tutting because he was getting hungry, he went over to the door and opened it. one of the worker bees from the nearby beehive hovered in front of him. "Anansi, please look in the pot of wisdom for me. My sisters and I have heard of a tree far away that is in full bloom and will be full of nectar, but we are scared our little wings will not carry us that far." Sighing loudly, Anansi walked over to the shelf where the little pot of wisdom with 3 little legs and a tight-fitting lid lived, and opened it. As always, the pot came up with an answer. "If an opportunity is not taken, it passes away." "Thank you," buzzed the little worker bee, and returned to her hive to tell her sisters the answer the pot had given. Now, Anansi was just about to sit down and eat his breakfast under the shade of the tree when Leopard Cub bounced into view. "Anansi, look in the pot of wisdom for me. My mum says I must join in the hunt, but I'm scared I won't be strong enough or fast enough for the chase." Huffing, Anansi put his breakfast down and went into the house to get the little pot with the 3 small legs and the tight-fitting lid. Bringing it out into the warm sun, Anansi opened the pot and out came the wisdom. "The harder the chase, the better the catch." Thinking about this answer for a while, the leopard cub thanked Anansi for looking into it and returned to his mother, now ready and eager to join in the hunt. And so the day went on. At lunchtime, Tiger came along just before his afternoon nap and asked for the wisdom pot to be consulted. In the afternoon, Turtle came to seek the advice of the pot. Even though he had started out in the morning, it had taken Turtle all this time to get to Anansi's house. At tea time, Hippo came to seek the help of the pot of wisdom. When the sun went down, Bat climbed out of his bed, flew to Anansi's house, and asked Anansi to open the lid of the pot and seek the wisdom that was hidden inside. So you see, day or night, the creatures of the jungle would need the wisdom held within the pot Anansi looked after. Anansi felt like he spent his entire life taking the little pot with 3 small legs and tight-fitting lid down from the shelf and consulting it. Then one morning, after Anansi had spent hours looking in the pot for elephant, lion, snake, zebra, the hornets, antelope, Turtle for a second time, because by the time he got home he had forgotten the answer and had come back to ask the question yet again. And even his wife, Aso, Anansi decided he would hide the pot in the tallest tree and tell everyone that the pot had been stolen. Good idea, Anansi. At least that way he would get some rest. So Anansi spun a silken thread around the pot so the lid would not come off, then tied the thread around his neck. As he walked to the base of the tallest tree, the pot kept bouncing on Anansi's stomach. He stood at the bottom of the tree and slowly began to climb. With every step he took, the pot bounced against his stomach and the tree. Muttering some very naughty words, Anansi clumsily slid back down the tree. Just then, Anansi's oldest son, whose name means big-headed, walked past. "Papa, what are you doing?" he asked. "Never you mind," Anansi snapped back at his son, angry that he had not managed to hide the pot of wisdom in time. "Leave your old papa alone." So his son left his papa sitting beneath the cooling branches of the tree. After a while, Anansi took the pot off and shortened the thread that was around his neck. "That should do it," he told himself, and once again began to climb the tree. Again the pot bounced between the trunk of the tree and Anansi's stomach. Again Anansi muttered some bad words and scolded himself for not being able to get the pot up the tree. He slid back down to the base of the tree and sat beneath its cooling cover. Just then, Anansi's second son, whose name means thin-legged, wandered past and said, "Papa, what are you doing?" "Never you mind," Anansi snapped back at his son, angry that he had not yet managed to hide the pot of wisdom again. "Leave your old papa alone." So he left his papa sitting in the shade of the tree. Thinking for a little while longer, Anansi decided to untie the pot and hold it under his many arms, but as he tried to climb the tree, he found he needed all his arms and legs to hold on to the trunk. Sliding down the tree trunk again and muttering some really naughty words this time, he sat down and sighed. Anansi was sure he would never be able to hide the pot of wisdom. As Anansi was sitting beneath the branches of the tallest tree, his third son, whose name means small-headed, came by. "Papa, what are you doing?" he asked. "Never you mind," Anansi snapped back at his son, angry that he had not yet managed to hide the pot of wisdom again. "Leave your old papa alone." So his son left his papa to sit in the shade of the tree. Anansi decided to give it one last go. So he tied the pot around his waist in front of him, securely fastening the silken thread. As he wobbled towards the tree, he heard laughter behind him. Spinning around, Anansi saw his fourth son, whose name means big stomach, laughing at his papa. "And I thought it was my name which meant big stomach, not yours." Anansi was not amused that his son was laughing at him and growled, "Don't laugh at me." Hiding a large grin behind his hand, his son asked, "But Papa, what are you doing?" "I'm trying to take the pot of wisdom to the top of this tree," he said, pointing up through the branches, and then added, "because I'm fed up with answering everyone's silly questions and just want to have a little rest." "Then why don't you tie it to your back?" asked Anansi's youngest son. Anansi was so angry with himself for not thinking of this that he took the pot and threw it to the ground. As the little clay pot with 3 small legs and a tight-fitting lid hit the ground, it smashed into 1,000 pieces. Then, just as luck would have it, a large gust of wind caught the wisdom and carried it to the 4 corners of the world. So now, wisdom is shared by all, and luckily, we don't have to go and ask Anansi to open up the pot and take a look inside. This story was written by Lynne Garner from Anansi.